smart, beautiful, gorgeous, handsome. All these words are used to describe the outer appearance of people by seeing their physique, like height, color, eyes, nose, etc. These physical features make us appear different from each other. Similarly, the landforms we see on the earth have different features, about which you will learn in this video. Physical features of India. So let us start. Landforms are of different sizes, shapes, colors, textures, and so on. For example, mountains, plains, plateaus, deserts, coastal plains, and islands. These landforms are different in their features because they are formed during different geological periods. To understand it better, let us compare the Himalayan mountains and Peninsular Plateau. The first difference is that the Himalayas are the most recent landforms, whereas the Peninsular Plateau constitutes one of the ancient land masses on the Earth's surface. Second, Himalayan mountains have high peaks, deep valleys, and fast-flowing rivers, whereas Peninsular Plateau has gently rising hills, wide valleys, and small rivers. Third, the Himalayan mountains form a weak zone, whereas the plateau was supposed to be one of the most strong land. Last but not least difference you can find in the rocks out of which they are formed. The Peninsular Plateau is composed of igneous and metamorphic rocks, whereas the Himalayan mountains are made of sedimentary rocks. Hope you got all the points? I know you'd be curious to know more differences between these landforms. Then must watch my next video on the Himalayas. So children, let us end today's class here. Do like and subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more interesting videos. Thank you everyone. Hello everyone. You must have heard that mountains are the beginning and the end of all natural scenery. But you must know that mountains aren't just a sight to behold. They cover 25% of the Earth's surface and provide habitat for plants, animals, and human beings. Do you want to know more about the mountains? Then must watch this video till the end, which is about the Himalayan mountains. The Himalayan mountains are recently formed young fold mountains. They stretch over the northern borders of India. These mountain ranges run from the river Indus in the west to the Brahmaputra river in the east. They form an arc which covers a distance of about 2,400 kilometers. Their width varies from 400 kilometers in Kashmir to 150 kilometers in Arunachal Pradesh. The height of the mountains is more in the eastern half than the western half. The Himalayan mountains consist of 3 parallel ranges in their longitudinal extent: 1, 2, and 3. The first one is known as the Great or Inner Himalayas or the Himadri. The second one is known as the Himachal or the Lesser Himalaya, and the third one is the Shivalik range. Now let us know about them in detail. The Himadri is the northernmost range of the Himalayas. It is the most continuous range, consisting of the loftiest peaks with an average height of 6,000 meters. It contains all prominent Himalayan peaks. For example, Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Dhaulagiri, Nanga Parbat, etc. It should be noted that most of the Himalayan mountains are composed of sedimentary rocks, but the core or central part of the Himalayas is made of granite, which is an igneous rock. One more important point to note that it is covered with snow throughout the year. Thus, you can find many glaciers in this range from where rivers originate. For example, Ganga, Yamuna, etc. Now let us know about the Himachal range. It is located to the south of the Himadri range. This range is mainly composed of highly compressed and altered rocks. The height of the Himachal varies between 3,700 and 4,500 meters, and the average width is 50 kilometers. You can find many important ranges here. For example, the Pir Panjal range. It forms the longest and the most important range. The other important ranges are the Dhauladhar and the Mahabharat ranges. Do you know the famous valley of Kashmir, the Kangra and the Kullu valley are located in the Himachal range? So you can visit many hill stations in this range. Now let us know about the Shivaliks. They are the outermost range of the Himalayas. They extend over the width of 10 to 50 kilometers and have an altitude varying between 900 and 1100 meters. These ranges are composed of loose sediments brought down by rivers from main Himalayan ranges located farther north. These valleys are covered with thick gravel and alluvium. Here you can see many dunes. What are dunes? Dunes are the longitudinal valleys lying between the lesser Himalayas and the Shivaliks. For example, Dehradun, Kotli Dune and Patli Dune. So children, these were the longitudinal divisions of the Himalayas. Hope you understood them well. But the story of the Himalayas doesn't end here. There is much more to know about this lofty Himalayas. Besides the longitudinal divisions, the Himalayas have been divided based on regions from west to east. These divisions have been demarcated by river valleys. These are called Punjab Himalaya, Kumaon Himalaya, Nepal Himalaya, and Assam Himalaya. Do you want to know where they are located? Then continue watching the video. The part of the Himalayas lying between the Indus and Satluj rivers have been traditionally known as Punjab Himalaya, but it is also known as Kashmir and Himachal Himalaya from west to east respectively. The part of the Himalayas lying between the Satluj and Kali rivers is known as Kumaon Himalayas. The Kali and Tista rivers demarcate the Nepal Himalayas, and the part lying between Tista and Dihang rivers is known as Assam Himalayas. Beyond the Dihang Gorge, the Himalayas bend sharply to the south and spread along the eastern boundary of India. They are known as the Purvanchal or the eastern hills of mountains. The Purvanchal range comprises the Patkai Hills, the Naga Hills, the Manipur Hills and the Mizo Hills. These hills running through the northeastern states are mostly composed of strong sandstones, which are sedimentary rocks, covered with dense forests. They mostly run as parallel ranges and valleys. So children, that was all about the Himalayan mountains. In the next video, you will learn about the northern plains. Do like and subscribe to my channel if you are finding the videos interesting. Thank you everyone. Hello everyone! In this video, you will learn about the northern plain of India, the most favorable place to live in. So much so that over 40% of the total population of the country lives here. But why? Because it has flat and leveled land with an adequate water supply and suitable climate. Moreover, the soil is very fertile and the area is agriculturally productive. Have you ever thought what made the northern plain so fertile? If you want to know the answer, then must watch the full video. The northern plain has been formed by the interplay of the three major river systems, namely the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra along with their tributaries. These rivers flow down the slopes of mountains. While coming down, they erode the mountains, or you can say they remove the upper layer of the mountains. These eroded materials are carried forward by the rivers. Then they deposit their load consisting of very fine sand and silt in their valleys. These fine deposited materials are called alluvium, which is very fertile soil. Due to the deposition of alluvial soil for millions of years at the foothills of Himalayas, this fertile plain has been formed. Hope this is clear to you. You would be amazed to know that this plain is spread over an area of 7 lakh square kilometers. It is about 2,400 kilometers long and the width is 240 kilometers to 320 kilometers. Do you know the rivers coming from the northern mountains form riverine island? You must be wondering, what is a riverine island? Riverine island is an island within a river. It is formed because of the deposition of mud and rocks in the river bed. Most of the deposition takes place in the lower course of the river, when the river flows through the gentle slope. Due to the gentle slope, the speed of the river decreases, which causes more deposition. As a result, an island is formed in the river called a riverine island. Do you know the world's largest inhabited riverine island is in India and its name is Majuli. It has been formed by the Brahmaputra river. The rivers in their lower course also break into many small streams or channels due to the deposition of sediments. These channels are known as distributaries. The vast area of the northern Indian plain has been classified into 3 sections. These are known as the Punjab plain, the Ganga plain, and the Brahmaputra plain. I know you must be wondering, how are they different from each other? They are different in their formations and locations. Let me tell you about each one of them in detail. The first part is the Punjab plain, which is located in the western part of the northern plain. It has been formed by the river Indus and its tributaries. The larger part of this plain lies in Pakistan. The Indus and its tributaries, namely the Jhelum, the Chenab, the Ravi, the Byas, and the Satluj originate in the Himalayas. This section of the plain is dominated by the Doabs. What is Doab? Doab is made up of two words. Do meaning two and Ab meaning water. Thus it can be described as a land between two converging rivers. Similarly, Punjab. It is also made up of two words. Panj meaning five and Ab meaning water. Therefore, this is the land where five rivers converge. Can you tell me the name of these five rivers? Yes, you are right. They are the Jhelum, the Chenab, the Ravi, the Byas, and the Satluj. Now let us know about the Ganga plain. The river Ganga along with its tributaries form the Ganga plain. It extends between the Ghagra and Tista rivers. It is spread over the states of North India, Haryana, Delhi, UP, Bihar, partly Jharkhand, and West Bengal to its east. Now let us visit the Brahmaputra plain. It has been formed by the Brahmaputra river and its tributaries. It is spread over the state of Assam. So children, I hope all these are clear to you. Let us end today's class here. In the next video, we will continue with the classification of Northern Plain on the basis of relief features. Do like and subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more such interesting videos. Thank you everyone. Hello everyone! In this video, we are going to discuss something very important. Guess what? It is about the northern plain of India and its classification on the basis of relief features. As you know, that the northern plains are flat and leveled land, but it would amaze you to know that these vast plains also have diverse relief features. According to the variations in the relief features, the northern plains can be divided into four regions. These are called Bhabar, Terai, Bhangar and Khadar. I know you'd be curious to know the important features of these regions. So let us begin. As you have studied in my previous video that the rivers Indus, Ganga and the Brahmaputra come down from the mountains and deposit pebbles in a narrow belt of about 8 to 16 kilometers in width. They are lying parallel to the slope of the Shivalik. This narrow belt is known as Bhabar. Do you know, all the rivers disappear in this Bhabar belt. But why? It is because of the deposition of a huge number of pebbles and rock debris that the streams cannot be seen on the surface, but they are present there, flowing under the ground. South of this belt is the Terai region. The streams of rivers re-emerge, or you can say the rivers can be seen, because this region is composed of comparatively finer alluvium. Due to the presence of rivers, a wet, swampy and marshy region is found. This area was once a thickly forested region full of wildlife. The forests have now been cleared to create agricultural land and to settle migrants from Pakistan after the partition. The next region is Bhangar. It lies above the flood plains of the rivers. It is the largest part of the northern plain, formed of old alluvial soil. It contains calcareous deposits, or you can say conker. But what about the soil that is deposited over the floodplain? Let me tell you. Every year when flood comes, the new alluvial soil is deposited near the river bank. These are fine soils and make the floodplain very fertile. These younger deposits of the floodplains are called Khadar. These soils are very good for intensive agriculture. Do you know, the Bhangar soil forms a terrace-like feature. What does this mean? To understand it better, let us draw a diagram. Suppose this is a river and it deposits fine soil near the river bank. That means here somewhere. This is young and new soil, also known as Khadar. When you go above this region, you would find old soil that was deposited last year or last to last year. This is Bhangar. These are not so fertile now. Thus you can see how Bhangar is forming a terrace-like feature. I hope this is clear to you. So children, let us end today's class here. In the next video, we will continue with the Peninsular Plateau. Hope you found my video interesting. Do like and subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more such interesting videos. Thank you everyone. Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to discuss about the oldest part of India. Any idea which part of India is the oldest? Yes, you are right. It is the Peninsular Plateau. You know, the word peninsular means a piece of land surrounded by water from three sides, whereas plateau is an elevated land having a flat top and steep slopes. In other words, you can say it is a tableland structure. Where is this tableland structure found in India? To know the answer, you need to look at the map of India. The plateau is located in the peninsular part of India, that is the southern part of the country, somewhere here. It is triangular in shape and composed of the old crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rocks. Have you ever thought about how was it formed? It was formed due to the breaking and drifting of the Gondwana land. What was Gondwana land? Gondwana land was an ancient supercontinent that broke up about 180 million years ago. The continent eventually split into land masses we recognize today as Africa, South America, Australia, Antarctica, the Arabian Peninsula, and the peninsular part of the Indian subcontinent. Thus, we can say that the peninsular part of the country is one of the oldest landmass on the earth. It has broad and shallow valleys and rounded hills. This plateau consists of two broad divisions, namely the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. In this video, we will talk about the Central Highlands in detail. So let us find out its location first. Here you can see we have Narmada river. North of this river, you can find the Central Highlands. It covers a major area of the Malwa Plateau. it is surrounded by the Vindhya range from the south and the Aravallis on the northwest. The Aravalli hills extend from Gujarat to Delhi in a southwest to northeast direction. These are highly eroded hills and are found as broken hills. West to the Aravalli hills, you will find the sandy and rocky desert of Rajasthan. Do you know there are many rivers which drain the central highlands? For example, the Chambal, the Sindh, the Betwa, and the Ken. All these rivers flow from southwest to northeast. But why? It is because they follow the slope of the region. Hence, the southwestern part of the plateau is higher than the northeastern part of the plateau, due to which the river flows from southwest to northeast. Thus, you can conclude that the direction of the flow of the rivers indicates the slope of the land. Hope this is clear to you. Any idea which part of the Central Highlands is broader? The Central Highlands are wider in the west but narrower in the east. The eastward extension of this plateau are locally known as the Bundelkhand and the Bagelkhand. They are located somewhere here. When we move a little further, we find the Chota Nagpur plateau. It is here in this region where the Damodar river flows. I hope this much is clear to you. So children, let us end today's class here. In the next video, we will continue with the Deccan Plateau. Do like and subscribe to my channel if you found my video interesting. Thank you everyone. Hello everyone! In my previous video, you studied about the Central Highlands. Now let us get familiar with the Deccan Plateau. This is the name given to the southern part of the Peninsular Plateau. The river Narmada separates the Deccan Plateau from the Central Highlands. North of the river Narmada, we have the Central Highlands, whereas south of this river, you can find the Deccan Plateau. It is a triangular landmass bordered by the Western Ghats in the west, Eastern Ghats in the east, and the Satpura Range, Mahadev Hills, Kamur Hills, and Michael Range in the north. Part of the Deccan Plateau is also visible in the northeast. They are known as Meghalaya, Karbi Anglong Plateau, and North Kachar Hills. If you move a little further, you can find the three prominent hill ranges from the west to east. They are the Garo, the Khasi, and the Jayantiya Hills. Hope the location of all these ranges is clear to you. Now let us know about the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats in detail. The Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats are basically mountain ranges, forming the western and the eastern edges of the plateau. These ranges are called Ghats. Western edge of the plateau is known as the Western Ghats, whereas the eastern edge of the plateau is known as the Eastern Ghats. There are many other differences between these two Ghats. Do you want to know? Then continue watching. First, the Western Ghats lie parallel to the western coast, whereas the Eastern Ghats lie parallel to the eastern coast. Second, the Western Ghats are continuous and can be crossed through passes only, whereas the Eastern Ghats are discontinuous and irregular. But why? Because there are many rivers draining into the Bay of Bengal. These rivers break the Ghats and make their ways to enter the Bay of Bengal. Third, the Western Ghats are higher than the Eastern Ghats. The average elevation of the Western Ghats is 900 to 1600 meters as against 600 meters of the Eastern Ghats. Last but not the least, the highest peak of the Western Ghats is Anamudi, whereas Mahendragiri is the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats. Hope you got all the points. Do you know the Western Ghats cause orographic rainfall? What is orographic rainfall? It is a type of rainfall that takes place when a highland, such as a hill or mountain, comes in the way of moisture-laden wind. Any idea what will be the result of this? Yes, you are right. The wind will not be allowed to pass. Rather, it will be forced to rise. The rising air will get condensed after reaching on higher altitudes and will fall down as precipitation. This kind of rainfall is known as orographic rainfall. Now let me tell you another important feature of the Deccan Plateau. Here you will find a black soil area known as Deccan Trap. This is of volcanic origin. Hence, the rocks are igneous. These rocks have broken down and eroded over time and are responsible for the formation of black soil. Hope this is clear to you. So children, let us end today's class here. In the next video, we will continue with the Indian desert. Do like and subscribe to my channel if you found my video interesting. Thank you everyone. Hello everyone! Can you identify this place? This is an empire where water is the king and shadow is the queen. Wondering what I am talking about? I am talking about desert. If you want to know more about this region, then must watch the full video. Deserts are found in areas where very little rainfall takes place. For example, the western part of India. Here you can find the Great Indian Desert, also known as the Thar Desert. It lies towards the western margins of the Aravalli Hills. Let us know the important features of the Indian desert. First, it is an undulating sandy plain covered with sand dunes. What are sand dunes? Sand dunes are hills of sand. They are created when wind deposits sand on top of each other until a small mound starts to form. Sand dunes are of different types. For example, barchans, longitudinal, transverse, star and blowout. Barchans and longitudinal sand dunes are commonly seen in India. But where? For that, you will have to visit Jaisalmer, where you can see a group of barchans. Whereas longitudinal dunes become more prominent near the Indo-Pakistan boundary. I am sure you'd be wondering how are they different from each other? So let us know about them. Barchans are crescent-shaped sand dunes spread over larger areas, whereas The large elongated dunes lying parallel to the prevailing wind direction are known as longitudinal dunes. Now let us know another feature of the Thar Desert. It receives very low rainfall, below 150 millimeters per year. Hence, it has an arid climate. What does this arid climate mean? Arid climate is a climate in which there is an excess of evaporation over precipitation. Thus, the region is very hot and dry with low vegetation cover. Last but not the least, in the Thar Desert you can find seasonal rivers. Seasonal rivers are the rivers that flow only in rainy season and remain dry mostly. For example, Luni River. It is the only river in the desert. It appears during the rainy season, but in the dry season you cannot see this river because it disappears into the sand as it does not have enough water to reach the sea. I hope this is clear to you. So children, let us end today's class here. Do like and subscribe to my channel if you found my video interesting. Thank you everyone. Hello everyone. In this video, you will learn about the coastal plains. What is a coastal plain? A coastal plain is flat, low-lying land adjacent to a sea coast. The coastal plains of India lie on either side of the Peninsular Plateau, along the western and eastern coasts of India. To understand it better, let us have a look at the map of India. Here you can see the Peninsular Plateau of India. And these are the western and the eastern edges of plateaus, known as the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats respectively. West of Western Ghats, we have the Western Coastal Plain, whereas east of Eastern Ghats, we have the Eastern Coastal Plain. These coastal plains are narrow stretch of land running along the Arabian Sea on the west and the Bay of Bengal on the east. Do you want to know more about these coastal plains? Then must watch the full video. The Western Coastal Plain is sandwiched between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It consists of 3 sections: 1, 2 and 3. The northern part of the coast is called the Konkan Plain, which runs from Mumbai to Goa. The central stretch is called the Kannada Plain. It is in Karnataka, while the southern stretch is referred to as the Malabar Coast. It is in Kerala. Now let us learn about the eastern coast in detail. It is sandwiched between the Eastern Ghat and the Bay of Bengal. It has 2 sections, 1 and 2. In the northern part, it is referred to as the Northern Sircar, while the southern part is known as the Coromandel Coast. Here in the eastern coast, you will find the largest saltwater lake in the country. Any idea about which lake I am talking? Yes, you are right. It is Chilka Lake. It lies in the state of Odisha, to the south of the Mahanadi Delta, somewhere here, and it is separated from the mighty Bay of Bengal by a small strip of sand. Do you know, the western coastal plain is a narrow plain land, whereas the eastern coastal plain is wide and level. But why? It is because of the rivers, such as the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri. All these rivers deposit sediments at the river's mouth due to the gentle slope of the land. As a result, extensive delta is formed on this coast, which makes it wider. Hope this is clear to you. So children, let us end today's class here. In the next video, we will learn about the Indian islands. Do like and subscribe to my channel if you found my video interesting. Thank you everyone. Hello everyone. In my previous video, you have already seen that India has a vast mainland. Besides this, the country also has two groups of islands. If you want to know about them in detail, then must watch the full video. The first one is the Lakshadweep Islands group, which is lying close to the Malabar coast of Kerala, somewhere here in the Arabian Sea. This group of islands is composed of small corals. What are corals? Corals are skeletons of tiny marine animals called polyps. Coral polyps always live in groups and grow only in shallow, mud-free and warm water. They cannot survive in fresh and cold water. They also die if they come out of the water surface. They secrete calcium carbonate, which is very hard like rocks. The groups of coral polyps are held together by calcium carbonate and are called reefs. The reefs are mainly of three kinds: barrier reef, fringing reef, and atolls. Atolls are circular or horseshoe-shaped coral reefs. Lakshadweep Island is an example of such kind of reef. The Great Barrier Reef and the Ningaloo Reef of Australia are examples of the barrier reef and the fringing reef respectively. Do you know, earlier the Lakshadweep Islands were known as Lakshadweep, Minicoy and Aminidifi. In 1973, these were named as Lakshadweep. It covers a small area of 32 square kilometers. Kavrati Island is the administrative headquarters of Lakshadweep. This island group has a great diversity of flora and fauna. The Piti Island, which is uninhabited, has a bird sanctuary. Now let us visit the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It is located somewhere here in the Bay of Bengal. Can you see the elongated chain of islands extending from north to south? These are Andaman and Nicobar Islands. They are bigger and are more numerous and scattered. The entire group of islands is divided into two broad categories: the Andaman in the north and the Nicobar in the south. They are separated by a water body which is called the 10 degrees channel. Do you know, it is believed that these islands are an elevated portion of submarine mountains. What are submarine mountains? Let me tell you. There are many mountain ranges that are mostly or entirely underwater and specifically under the surface of an ocean. They are called submarine mountains. Some of these mountains may grow to rise above sea level, forming islands. One such example is the Andaman and Nicobar Islands of India. These island groups are of great strategic importance for the country. There is great diversity of flora and fauna in this group of islands too. These islands lie close to the equator and experience an equatorial climate and have thick forest cover. Do you know India's only active volcano is found on Barren Island in the Andaman and Nicobar group of islands? So children, that were all about the islands of India. Hope you found my video interesting. Do like and subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more such videos. Thank you everyone.